Today's NBC 10 News at 6.
Right now, a homework assignment is causing some big problems for CrossFit parents after they say the assignment is inappropriate. And our nation's leaders remember the late Elijah Cummings as he was laid to rest today in Washington. Plus, Lincoln Parish need those willing to stand guard after a shortage in correction officers. We tell you why there's a shortage at all. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Chelsea Jones. Michelle is off. Parents in CrossFit are outraged after they say a teacher gave students poems that included profanity and sexual content. NBC 10's Gabrielle Pfeiffer spoke with parents and the superintendent about the controversy.
A homework assignment has turned into a heated debate after parents say their 8th grade children were sent home with poems they feel were very inappropriate.
Whenever he got to the last page of it and I seen the big F word on there, that was the first thing that stood out to me. So I went, reread the whole poem, and found several profanities in it.
Parents said they expressed their concern to the school, and the teacher issued an apology. The teacher then gave students options to read Maya Angelou's Still I Rise or Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. Parents said 2 lines in Angelou's poem included sexual content.
That's not fixing it for us, because that's still provocative. That is still going against everything we are teaching our children right now.
Other parents who disagree with the issue say Maya Angelou's poem is all about perception, but they do agree that all classroom materials should be checked before handed out. Slack and other parents say the poems are examples of the type of behavior they want their children to avoid.
If my kids are going to be corrupted, and if my kids are going to be exposed to these kind of things, I don't feel like it should be in the public school system. That's supposed to be our safe place.
Superintendent Gary Williams issued a statement saying they do not condone the language mistakenly left in the assignment. He said they will work diligently to edit any inappropriate language or content moving forward. In CrossFit, Gabrielle Pfeiffer, NBC 10, your local news leader.
For the links to the poems and the full statements from the teacher and the superintendent, you can head to our website, myarklemiss.com. Well, a West Monroe woman is behind bars after police say she stabbed a man with a screwdriver and then stole his car. 35-year-old Danielle Wheat is facing an attempted second-degree murder charge. Ouachita Parish Sheriff's deputies tell us the victim had awoken in the middle of the night to Wheat going through his stuff. Once he confronted her, he says that she grabbed a screwdriver and then stabbed him multiple times. Police say Wheat then took off in the man's car, and she is booked on 1 count of theft of a motor vehicle, and her bond is set at $27,500. Funeral services have been set for the Neville teen who was hit and killed earlier this week. Visitation for Ashley Dorsey will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Assembly right here in West Monroe. The funeral will begin at 1 p.m. Interment will follow at Mulhern Memorial Park under the direction of Griffin Funeral Home. Ashley was 15 years old and she would have been 16 November 11th. Friends of Ashley Dorsey have set up a GoFundMe page to help her family cover medical and funeral expenses, so you can find that link also on our website, myarklemiss.com. Some of the nation's leaders, both past and present, gathered to honor the late Representative Elijah Cummings. A funeral service for Cummings was held at the New Psalmist Baptist Church in Baltimore, Maryland today. Several well-known names in Washington attended the service. Former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton shared memories of the longtime Maryland Democrat. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also spoke fondly of Cummings. The 68-year-old passed away last week after battling a long illness. The Lincoln Parish Sheriff's Office is looking for men and women who are interested in becoming correctional officers. Isabel Albritton spoke to them, and she has the requirements the department is looking for. Isabel, what do applicants need?
That's right, Chelsea. Just like many other positions, some sort of turnover is expected over time. But right now, Lincoln Parish is experiencing a shortage of correctional officers. For Lieutenant James Colvin, recruitment is a year-round task. But because of a dramatic turnover, the department is currently in need of correctional officers, specifically guards.
We're just always looking for good men and women of the parish to serve the parish.
But not just anyone can fill the position. There are a few requirements that need to be met. Applicants must be at least 21 years old and have a high school education or GED.
After they fill out the application, we have to take a written test, and if they pass that, then they have to pass the backgrounds, and if they pass that, then they have to take a psychological and then a physical.
Applicants must also be quick and alert at all times to make sure nothing goes wrong with the inmates.
It's a full day of making sure the prisoners are taken care of.
Duties consist of searching living quarters and enforcing security to prevent assaults or escapes.
They do the taking care of the prisoners, feeding the prisoners, watching the prisoners, and we have them where they, in pods, where they open the gates and the doors that different guards go through.
To apply, all you have to do is click on the link to the application on My Story. Just visit our website at myrclamis.com. Once you fill out the application, you can drop it off at the Lincoln Parish Public Safety Complex located on Road Camp Road in Ruston. For now, live in the studio, Isabel Albritton, NBC 10, your local news leader.
Thanks, Isabel. The Drug Enforcement Administration is having their 17th annual National Prescription Drug Take Back this weekend. Since 2010, the DEA has collected over 12 million tons of unwanted, unused, and unneeded medicine. This year, you can also dispose of any vape products. The Prescription Drug Initiative started as locals were flushing drugs down the drain or throwing them in the trash, polluting the environment. This gave locals a place to get rid of drugs properly. However, the primary focus is to now put a stop to opioid use.
For us, especially with our focus being on children and families, we definitely want to make sure that we're eliminating that and actually making it so that it's a safer process in the home, that they're not able to access it.
There will be 5 Monroe, West Monroe take-back locations at Brookshire's and Super One. To see the complete list, you can head to our website. Well, great news for a Friday, or on any day for that matter. Someone will have the chance to win a $150 gas card. No one has called in for the last 3 nights, so our gas card has grown. Every weeknight on NBC 10 at 10, you can have a chance to win a free gas card, but it's brought to you by the Jim Taylor dealerships, and if your name is called, you have by the end of the newscast to claim the prize, and if the winner doesn't call, the price rolls over and grows and grows. So register at the Jim Taylor dealerships or go to our website and click on the contest tab. Well, sports is next. It's Football Friday night, and there are over a dozen games taking place this evening. Our Chris Immersion will join us live from a Class 2A battle between Faraday and Mangum in less than 3 minutes. But first, a very wet day out there, Jared.
That is correct. Be prepared to run the football a little bit more than you would typically want to, but who knows with some of our teams that are going to be out there tonight. Rain continues thanks to Tropical Storm Olga, but some more changes in store by the end of the weekend. Full into the forecast as NBC 10 News at 6 continues.
What does innovative heart care mean to Stephen Jeter? It means he's still around to teach kids about the game he loves. With renewed energy for challenging activities he enjoys. And most of all, more time to spend with his wife and children. All thanks to the healthcare heroes and exceptional care at Willis Knighton Heart and Vascular Institute. Always here.
Just not hunting season without a visit to Simmons Sporting Goods. Get a real deal with a Nikon Buckmaster 2 3 to 9x40 rifle scope, only $89.99. Never miss a thing with a Nikon Pro Staff P3 3 to 9x50 BDC rifle scope, just $199.99. Stop guessing distance and know your shot with a Nikon Pro Staff 1000 rangefinder, now $149.99. We're open 8:30 to 6 Monday through Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. Get 24 months same as cash or shop SimmonsSportingGoods.com.
I'm James Spivey. If you have financial troubles, come see me. I've been practicing bankruptcy law since 1993. My office is at 1515 North 7th Street, West Monroe, Louisiana, just across the street from the West Monroe High School football stadium. You can call me at 387-3666 or on the web at jspiveylaw.com. Bankruptcy is not the end, it's a new beginning. We're a debt relief agency. We help people file for bankruptcy under the Bankruptcy Code.
Hey, it's Danielle Mendoza here at Legacy of Farmerville, and because we had such an amazing month in September, we want to extend that appreciation to you guys by giving you $12,000 off of this 2019 Chevy Tahoe LT. You heard, $12,000 off. Again, $12,000 off this 2019 GMC Yukon SLT. At Legacy, we're so confident in our prices, you can shop us against anyone.
Check them out online or drive a little and save a lot at Legacy of Farmerville.
The attacks against Governor Edwards are not only false,
they're hypocritical.
He's never supported releasing dangerous criminals.
And we all know it.
criminal justice reform is making Louisiana safer.
It's strongly supported by Republicans and Democrats.
Law enforcement professionals
and business leaders.
Growing up in a fourth-generation law enforcement family.
And a veteran.
Governor Edwards knows what it means to serve and protect.
The Louisiana Sheriff's Association is proud to endorse Governor Edwards.
The Animal House is your local pet store. Cypress Street, West Monroe.
NBC 10 News at 6 continues.
It's a soggy day out there tonight, which calls for some muddy matchups as high school football teams prepare to go head-to-head on the field. NBC 10's Chris Immersion joins us live from one of tonight's biggest games. Hey there, Chris.
Hey, Chelsea, one of those muddy and rainy matchups taking place right here at Mangum High School. My good friend Scott Wilcher and I were just talking about our slicker suits. Coach, I'm afraid I don't have one. I'm just rocking these shorts right here. My legs are going to get wet.
You're going to get wet and cold.
And wet and cold especially. Hey, that being said about the rain, how much of that takes away some of the offense going up against a very good Faraday squad?
Well, I think it takes away the offense from both teams, you know, with this kind of rain and how wet the field is and everything. So, you know, you just hope you don't turn the ball over, or at least don't turn it over in crucial situations.
You know, Coach, a lot of guys we haven't really talked about. You guys are really 6-1. So is Faraday. Hey, by the way, you guys are 3-0 in district play. So is Faraday. Right. How much are players and coaches buying into all this hype this evening?
I think both teams are. We just got to go out and play the brand of football that we play, and hopefully things will go in our favor. You know, I know Coach Smith over there is going to have his team ready. They're #1 in the state for a reason. They got a very good ball club, and we're just going to see if we can rise to the occasion.
Hey, in your eyes, with you guys being 6-1, that 3-0 start in district play, what's worked? More offense or more defense?
Well, I think it's been a combination of both. Offensively, we've been pretty good and been able to put up points, but here in the last 3 weeks, our defense has played really well. We made some changes on that side of the ball, so it's just kind of clicking on both ends right now.
What position group or which players need to step up against Faraday this evening?
Well, I think the offensive and defensive line. I think you got to win the battle in the trenches as wet as it is, and I think both teams are going to come out and try to run the ball. And in order to do that, you got to have good offensive line play, and we got to have good defensive line play.
Coach, the amount of excitement from not just the players and coaches, but the community this whole week. Coach, what have you seen?
Well, it's been kind of crazy. Our community's great. We had a big deal last night, and I've never seen that many people show up for anything around here like that, and it was just great for the kids, and it was great for us.
Yeah, Coach, not a lot of guys are talking about the quarterback play you guys have this year. You guys are really seeing a spike in that this year with Caleb Pleasant under center.
Right. He's done a great job. He's grown every game. He can run the ball, and he can throw the ball. He's just a tremendous player for us, and hopefully that'll continue tonight.
What do you think Caleb needs to do tonight to be successful?
I think he's just got to calm down and play the game, not rush things, make sure he handles the ball well, make sure he gets the ball to our running back, DeCameron Wilmore, who's had a great year. And, you know, if we can do that and get our plays off, we'll be in good shape.
By the way, the two beasts of the week from a couple of weeks ago getting things done this year, Coach.
Right. They're good. They're both juniors, and we have some other guys on that side of the ball that's also making plays for us, and we hope that continues tonight.
Hey, Coach, it's not just you guys. Plenty of action this evening from Arkansas and Louisiana. Tensaw OCS going at it. By the way, in Arkansas, Fordyce and Junction City. Also, the Battle of the Ashley Bowl. Coach, you ever heard of the Ashley Bowl in Arkansas between Crosset and Hamburg? A lot of good action on this evening. We'll have it all covered for you right at 10 o'clock on KTVE with Football Friday Night and at 11 o'clock on Football Friday Night Extra. But in the meantime, Chelsea, we're going to send things back to you and Jared in the studio.
All right, thanks, Chris. A very soggy day. I wouldn't want to be watching football out there for y'all with you guys.
Bring it on. Get some chili or potato soup, tomato soup, any kind of soup.
Keep it warm, you know.
Man, it's going to be nice out tomorrow once we get rid of the rainfall. And Sunday, as we clear things out even more so. Here's a look at some of the rain earlier today. It'll be a soggy night tonight, though, folks. Forecast is next.
Monday on NBC 10 News Today, a local church is joining a nationwide movement. Find out how you can get involved this Halloween.
And we'll be back to 70 and sunny, but Lexi says a cool down could be on the way. We'll tell you about it Monday starting at 5 here on NBC 10.
Louisiana is the greatest state in America, but today we're last in jobs, crime, insurance, and more. Folks, if LSU was last, we'd fire the provost, the athletic director, the coach, even the poor water boy. 4 more years of a liberal, trial lawyer, tax and spend, career politician governor is not the answer. If we want different, we have to do different. I'm Eddie Risponi. I'm asking you for your vote.
Get big savings on everything under the tent during Ivan Smith's incredible tent event. Discontinued closeouts and one-of-a-kinds, all marked down under the tent.
This sofa, only $288. This dining set, just $497.
And everything else? Take up to 3 years with no interest financing or save up to $1,000 with our Buy More, Save More. It's our markdown extravaganza going on now at Ivan Smith's incredible tent event.
When John Bell Edwards let thousands of criminals out of jail early, he put every life in danger. 25% have already committed more crimes. Crimes against children, violent assaults, 5 murders.
Jordan's killer was released after only serving 18 months, or 21% of his sentence.
I'll never forget the sound of that zipper opening up for us to be able to see Jordan inside.
Give his victims a voice. Vote no on John Bell Edwards. Paid and authorized by Make Louisiana Great Again.
Eddie Risponi takes aim at fellow Republican Ralph Abraham.
An ad released by Eddie Risponi is filled with, quote, baseless personal attacks.
You know those ads you're running against me and my family are lies. When you stand up here and tell blatant lies to the good people of Louisiana, you're the politician, not me.
We just can't trust phony Eddie Risponi.
It's just not right, you know it.
Live Storm Tracker Doppler radar, sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, your local weather with Chief Meteorologist Jaron Floyd.
Look at the live Storm Tracker Doppler radar brought to you by E. Orem Young. For some games that are going on farther westward in the Arklamis, kickoff at 7 o'clock, and some of the rain may be wrapping up for a lot of you locations, so consider yourself fortunate. Of course, Chris just talked about Hamburg and Crossit. The rain is much lighter as you move up there, at least according to our radar, but it's also getting through some heavier rain in southern portions of Morehouse Parish. This is all in response to a frontal system that will be combining with Tropical Storm Olga as we head through the next few hours. Now, the tropical system has formed in the western Gulf of Mexico. We were expecting a tropical depression, or at least the potential of a tropical depression. We weren't necessarily expecting a tropical storm. It doesn't really alter the forecast all that much. It has altered the forecast for our neighbors to the south. Obviously, some gusty winds along the Gulf coastline later tonight, but also the tornado threat that is unfolded across portions of Alabama. And tornado watch that's in effect for southern Mississippi and southern Alabama. And you can also see a bevy of tornado watches or tornado warnings rather, in effect from Mobile northward. Area of low pressure associated with Olga will absorb or get absorbed or kind of lock in with this frontal system, and at that point it is no longer considered a tropical system. It will be an extratropical low that will continue to move on with this frontal system off to the east and northeast. But for right now, it is a storm that has maximum sustained winds at 40 miles per hour, moving pretty quickly off to the north-northeast at 18. And I wouldn't be surprised to see actually that heading actually pick up the pace even more so to maybe 25 miles an hour or even faster later on tonight as it catches up with that cold front and starts to accelerate. As we go into the late night hours tonight, again, rain starts to become more scattered through the late night hours and then really wraps up as we head into the early morning hours tomorrow. Clouds will hang around through much of the day, but as that frontal system continues to move east, westerly winds will eventually wrap in and bring some drier air and will also eventually bring an end to all the cloud cover. But that, more than likely for most of us, will happen early Sunday morning. Total rainfall so far, 1.6 or just near there in Monroe. About 1.25 inches in Vicksburg. We're approaching 2 inches of rain in Greenville and a little over 2 inches of rain in El Dorado. So again, all things considered, rain totals fairly uniform, some a little heavier than others, but either way, continuing to help with the drought conditions that have still plagued the area even after a soggy couple of weeks. Upper 50s to low 60s in most spots at this hour, 60 in Ruston and Monroe, 59 in El Dorado. We'll look for lows tonight to eventually drop back off into the mid-50s. Rain continues with winds generally variable. High temperatures tomorrow will top back out most spots, excuse me, in the mid-60s. Lingering showers continue with rain, most of it in the early part of the day. Clouds will hang around. They're not in any hurry to go anywhere. Winds will stay out of the west. And again, tonight, winds will be variable as that area of low pressure associated with Olga moves through. So no big surprises there. Low to mid-70s for high Sunday, Monday. Morning lows in the low into the 50s. And another big cold front slated by the middle part of next week with highs in the low to mid-60s by then. Again, timing still a little bit of a question mark regarding what we can actually expect at that point. But either way, looks like we could be returning to the 30s for lows for a couple of mornings next week. Could even see the freezing mark in some locations.
All right, well, we can look forward to Monday, no rain.
Absolutely.
We'll take it day by day.
And get it a chance to dry out and warm up a little bit.
I'm here for it.
Yep.
Thanks, Jared.
You bet.
Well, coming up next, the U.S. Census Bureau needs to hire people and fast. We take you to Washington to tell you who they're looking for. Stay tuned.
There's a reason people come here. It begins with a handshake and becomes so much more. We're more than a dealership. We focus on giving you a great experience, not just behind the wheel, but in all that we do, from service to sales to relationships. At Jim Taylor, we don't just say we care, we show it to you, your family, and our community. So come experience what we're all about. Find new roads at Jim Taylor Chevrolet.
Whether it's Clay Knox and the team at Clayton Homes of Monroe, or Jeff Foote and the team at Clayton Homes of West Monroe,
we're opening doors to a better life, one home at a time.
Let us show your family the quality and value of a new Clayton home.
When we combine forces, we're unbeatable.
Now 2 locations, Clayton Homes of Monroe and Clayton Homes of West Monroe.
First 6-function multi-pro tailgate, available on the next generation 2019 GMC Sierra. Step up to GMC and get over $10,000 total value on this next generation Sierra.
See your Monroe area GMC dealer.
Lawyers in the Senate killed legislation. Lawyers in the Senate killed legislation.
Excuse me? But Jay Morris serves in the House, not the Senate. The House passed the bill, and Jay Morris voted for it. The Senate defeated the bill. Jim Fannon's a senator. Just facts. Jim Fannon has been in politics for 33 years, a career politician. Jay Morris employs 150 of our citizens in his businesses. A solid businessman. That's the real choice. Jay Morris, Senate.
For something old or something new, Cottonport Antique Mall.
Hey kids, how would you like to forecast the weather with me? Just pick up your Kids Cast coloring sheet at any Ouachita Valley Federal Credit Union or print it on myarclamist.com. Then color the weather and mail it in. Each Friday on NBC 10 News at 5, someone who sent in their artwork will appear in our Kids Cast weather segment. It could easily be you.
Kids Cast, sponsored by Ouachita Valley Federal Credit Union. For more details, visit myarclamist.com. At 6 continues.
The U.S. Census Bureau needs to hire 500,000 people in the next few months to ensure the 2020 population count happens accurately and on time. Alexandra Lamone tells us why the census may face hurdles finding, or filling, I should say, all of those jobs.
The U.S. Census Bureau is hiring for jobs across America.
For our census takers, their task is really to go door to door for people who don't self-respond.
Dale Kelly, the chief of the field division with the Census Bureau, says the positions include census takers, supervisors, and office jobs. The Census Bureau is opening 248 satellite offices around the country, and some of the new hires will need a special skill set.
And it's important that we hire people who will work in those communities because they know their neighbors, they speak that language, they are that local voice.
But hiring 500,000 people in just a few months could be a real challenge, in part because of the low unemployment rate. That's why the Bureau says it's recruiting people who are already employed and want a second job, or students and retirees looking for extra income, as well as seasonal employees who can start after the holidays. Kelly says the positions are more than just jobs. They're critical to the partnership between local communities and the federal government.
It determines the flow of federal funding. There's approximately $675 billion a year that flows to communities.
Money that goes toward projects like improving local schools, roads, and hospitals. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
The census results also determine how congressional seats are divided between the states. Well, when we come back, Jared tells us what we can look forward to in the week ahead with one last look at your 7-day forecast.
on set of the Country Queen's new dance track. Then only E.T. is at the real-life Barbie Malibu dream house. We've got your first look inside. Next, E.T.
Spooky low prices, scary low financing, a monstrous selection of new Hyundais.
It's all here at Interstate Hyundai Wheat. A Santa Fe, $23,880. A Tucson, $21,880. A Kona, $19,880. A Sonata, $18,880. A Blosser, $16,880. And a Elantra, $15,880. And an Accent, just $12,880. Shop at InterstateHyundai.com. No tricky deals here. It's Hyundai Wheat, where it doesn't take a big payday to buy at Interstate Hyundai in West Monroe.
At Go Auto, we put customers first by giving them savings that create new adventures like buying your first car, hanging with friends, and those late-night cravings during exam week.
Have more and do more with Go Auto. We keep your budget in mind. And remember, the safer you drive, the more you save. Just call, click, or come by for a free quote today. Go Auto, low-cost car insurance for life.
Go, go, go Auto.
Last call for 2019's Advantro Toyota. So you better run in before we run out. Don't wait. Hurry, get huge last call discounts on every new 2019 Toyota. Take $3,000 off new 2019 RAV4. Or save on every 2019 Toyota truck and get $7,500 off new 2019 Tundra Crewmax. Shop anytime online at VantroToyota.com. Then hurry to Vantro Toyota. Now more than ever, right on the corner, right on the price.
Lawyers in the Senate killed legislation. Lawyers in the Senate killed legislation.
Excuse me? But Jay Morris serves in the House, not the Senate. The House passed the bill, and Jay Morris voted for it. The Senate defeated the bill. Jim Bannon's a senator. Just facts. Jim Bannon has been in politics for 33 years, a career politician. Jay Morris employs 150 of our citizens in his businesses. A solid businessman. That's the real choice. Jay Morris, Senate.
Dateline Friday, opening a box full of secrets.
It's the story of a family, my family.
To face the terrible truth inside.
Diabolical hardly begins to describe it.
Dateline Friday, 9/8 Central.
For something old or something new, Cottonport Antique Mall.
Quick look at the 7-day forecast shows afternoon highs in the mid-60s with lingering showers through the early part of the day tomorrow. Most of that breaks up by about midday, and I would really think most of the rain's done by sunrise. Drying out by Sunday and Monday with highs in the low to mid-70s. Morning lows will remain in the low into the 50s. Showers back in late Tuesday. They'll probably be after dark as our next cold front arrives on Wednesday. Maybe a few showers and storms. Won't have a lot of moisture to work with, and it will bring some much cooler temperatures into the low 60s for highs Thursday, Friday of next week. Morning lows back in the mid to upper 30s. Could see the freezing mark in South Arkansas a couple of mornings next week. We'll keep an eye on that. Not overly pressing at this point, but definitely kind of a return to fall headed our way.
And the weather's already getting to you.
Yeah, but just a little seasonal stuff will be all right.
Just make sure you stay warm, guys, and make sure to join us back here for our news at 10. What is it, 10 at 10 on 10?
Yep.
You heard it.
Plenty of football, too.
Exactly. See ya.